Hello friends, I'm glad to see you again, and we are very close to the first 1,000 of subscribers to this channel, after which we'll start a live affairs and we'll start another types of programs and communication between us. Today we'll talk about the important and even dangerous situation inside of Ukraine and around Ukraine, which is going on to the best scenario. The leadership of the Russian Federation continues to develop the topic of the nuclear threat at the highest level, accusing Ukraine in developing of a dirty nuclear bomb. The risk of a nuclear provocation remains high. As in the situation around the Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant, previous situation, the nowadays nuclear threat can act as a switch of the conflict, either towards nuclear escalation, because of preparing, building the reason for Russian Federation to use tactical nuclear weapon against of Ukraine, of Ukrainian allies, or the conclusion of a peace agreement, since the nuclear threat restores the expediency of political dialogue between the parties and recreates for politicians room to diplomacy due to the changes in public opinion. In the meantime, the most likely scenario for the development of the situation is that nuclear escalation will continue in political space, in political terms, without the use of nuclear weapon in real days, in real life. And the Russian Federation in the coming weeks or even months will try to build on its success aimed at destroying the Ukrainian energy infrastructure and using the increase of the number of her army as a result of mobilization for local counteroffensives. The Russian army continues to regularly attacks to the energy infrastructure of Ukraine. As a result of a new damage, the power industry is forced to introduce more unplanned restrictions. Though the shortage of electricity only in Kyiv can be near 30%. In total, for example, on October 27, power outage affect about 1 million people, inhabitants in Kyiv, 156,000 of apartments and livings. And power outages continue in other regions of Ukraine also. While maintaining the current intensity of strikes, the united energy system of Ukraine can be seriously broken or damaged in next 3-6 weeks. Vladimir Putin's speech at the Valdai Club grounds confirmed that the baseness of the course of Russian Federation in the confrontation with the United States and allies and the war against of Ukraine. At the same time, Russian Federation continues to declare its readiness for negotiations on its own terms. In domestic politics of Ukraine, more detailed about the speech of Putin, with very serious analyzing, with comparing the new modern Chinese policy, you should read our Telegram channel of Ukrainian Institute of Politics. In domestic policy in Ukraine, the political struggle has intensified and a series of political and corruption scandals continues. Thus, National Anti-Corruption Bureau of Ukraine and the Special Anti-Corruption Prosecutor Office intensified the investigation against a number of top officials and officials of the current government and figures associated with them at the regional and central levels. Under public but informal suspicion, even some key figures from the leadership of the Office of Ukrainian President fell. The statement of the ex-head of the National Anti-Corruption Bureau and nowadays executive head of the National Agency of Corruption Prevention, Artem Sitnik, regarding the illegality and unconstitutionality of the unpopular in Ukraine ban of men traveling abroad and the absence of such provisions in the presidential decree may indicate both an increase in dissatisfaction with the team of Vladimir Zelensky among some of Western elites, and maybe its personally Artem-seeking ambitions and the continuation his conflict with the office of Ukrainian president. The internal confrontation between the authorities and the oppositional financial and political groups also going on. In particular, 15 people were suspected of being involved in the introduction and operation of the so-called Rotterdam Plus formula, selling Ukrainian coal for generating companies at the price of imported coal, including delivery even. Due to this formula, the company of DTEC, of Rinat Akhmetov, and Centrenergo company sold electricity by overpriced consumers from 2016 to 2018. Potentially, Rinat Akhmetov, as a co-owner of coal and generating companies, and Petro Poroshenko, as the president of Ukraine, who politically may cover this formula, could become the target of this investigation. Although this case may lead to another round, to a new round of redistribution of power and assets in Ukraine, and or the nationalization of some energy companies. At the front, in the Kherson direction and in the Lugansk region also, the Ukrainian offensive has so far slowed down due to the rains and mudslides. There is some progress in the Kharkiv region, where 28 settlements remain under the occupation of Russian Federation still. From the city of Kherson, the evacuation of the civilian sector and the various kinds of material assets almost finished. The occupying authorities report that they have already taken out about 10,000 people. At the same time, the Russian Federation armed forces are not leaving the city of Kherson yet. And with their statements about the evacuation of the Russian Federation armies, they are trying to mislead Ukraine, maybe. According to some reports, the number of Russian troops near the city of Kherson is even increasing, which confirms my previous version of the military trick, as I told you 1 week ago. Most likely, with the help of those mobilized, Russia will try to contain the counteroffensive on the armed forces of Ukraine, or may even go on offensive during next weeks. The Russian Federation begins a new stage of bidding for the extension or continuing of the so-called grain deal. At the same time, the probability that this deal will be stopped is quite high. Today, the Russian leadership, as a condition, requires the partial lifting of the sanction, in particular against the shipping and insurance company which work with Russia. The Russian Federation is also seeking for the possibility of exporting agricultural products from the territories seized from Ukraine. At the same time, the stoppage of the grain deal may lead to a new round of escalation, military escalation, in the front. In particular, the Russian Federation may again attempt to capture the city of Nikolaev and the city of Odessa. In general, it is possible that the final decision on the extension or no of the grain deal or wheat deal will be made at the G20 summit in Indonesia in 3 weeks. It is very important for Ukraine to achieve the extension of the grain deal and even make it wider to the metallurgy, chemistry, etc., and other sectors of our economy. Because, thanks to the grain deal, about 11 million tons of food have already been exported from Ukrainian ports, which is of great importance for the state budget of the country and Ukrainian producements of this production. Thank you, friends, for watching this TV. Don't forget to subscribe and to recommend your friends. you will see only honesty and clear news information from Ukraine and around Ukraine on this channel. Thank you again. Bye bye. Have a nice weekend.